Today we're going to be looking at Eureka's release of Madhouse, which has Vincent Price playing a horror icon haunted by his on-screen persona. And amongst that we've got Peter Cushing, who's kind of lurking around the edges, and we have these twisted clips of old horror movies starring some really familiar faces come up in a freaky way. This is from 1974. It is an Amicus production. It is an American International's production as well, and it is weird, different, fun, and really engaging. But it's arriving in the 70s when the horror was starting to change and things were getting a little bit nastier and bloodier and less theatrical. So Madhouse is this kind of strange hybrid, but it's part old school horror gothic type thing. It's got a little bit of a showbiz murder into it, and it's a kind of self-aware horror parody as well. It's a strange mix, but it creates something really fun, really unique.
Well, my friends, you've just seen the 5th Dr. Death epic, in which I play many parts, all brilliantly, of course.
Vincent Price is Paul Toombes, a famous horror actor known for playing Dr. Death, a skull-faced killer that made him a genre legend. But during a party celebrating his career, tragedy strikes. His fiancée Ellen is murdered by someone dressed as Dr. Death. Toombes himself can't be completely sure whether he was responsible or not. This is a wonderful setup in which you see Vincent Price just take that and run with it. A horror star trapped by his own image, a fictional monster possibly moving into real life, a murder that may have come from his own fractured mind.
But he was there, wasn't he? I know that he was. Because when I opened my eyes, I saw his glove.
This is a movie where Vincent Price owns it, and what makes it so enjoyable is how close it is to his own image. Price had already become a horror icon by this point, and Madhouse uses that history to great effect. It knows where Vincent Price is placed within the horror pantheon, and it brings that baggage into the film with us. He is perfect for this role, and it works tremendously well when he is playing on that image. On the other hand, you've got Peter Cushing in here as well, and he plays Herbert Frey, our friend and writer to Mr. Toombes. And the part of the pleasure in the film is just seeing these two guys together on screen. Cushing brings that kind of calm, slightly haunted but controlled quality he was so good at, and with Price the emotion is often bigger and more theatrical, and Cushing is more subdued, and that works really well together.
I don't need the money. I've made a very nice new career for myself now as an actor, but I had to get you here somehow.
I haven't been near Dr. Death for years. Anything he does frightens me.
The most interesting thing about Madhouse is the fact that it's a horror movie about horror movie. Paul Toombes is a famous actor, and audiences love watching him kill people on screen, and then the real murders start happening in the style of those from the film. Now, it's not as brutal or as satirical as something as Theatre of Blood, and it's not as elegant as some of the Poe movies that came earlier, but it's in that same space where fame, horror and performance and death all become tangled together. And does the audience see the man, or does it see the legend? Does the on-screen persona take over from that? I love the idea, the psychological aspect of Toombes' alter ego Dr. Death, and the fact that he is so warped by this that he is unsure whether he is committing these crimes or not. It adds a whole different aspect to the film, and the film plays with that a lot throughout it. He's not just a random horror character. This role, Dr. Death, is something that is synonymous with pop culture at the time, cult cinema, and it uses clips from earlier Vincent Price movies as if they're part of Dr. Death's career, and I just loved the aspect of that.
And sleep, sleep, sleep.
There is some great older faces that show up. Boris Karloff, Basil Rathbone shows up at some point. These are characters playing within the films themselves, and it's small. It's a minuscule kind of moment within the film, but it's so great to see them appear and be part of this thing. For me, what works best is the fact that it's the faded showbiz horror. It's not just a murder mystery, it's a film about a horror actor who's outlived his old golden age and has been pulled back into something that's ultimately going to destroy him. That idea is really strong. The London setting helps, the studios, the television production, the old friends and public appearances. He turns up on a real UK talk show at one point, and it just blurs that line between fiction and reality. There are aspects to the film that don't fully work. It's definitely not perfect. The plot can become super silly at certain points, and it feels like it wants to be a more coherent psychological thriller than it actually is. If you compare it to Price's best work, it's nowhere near it, but it's fun and it's interesting. I love the tone of it. That's one of the things that just kept me going. There was an almost, not exactly camp, but not fully serious either. It sat somewhere in between the two, and it just was really nice. And it's just a fun film. If you're a fan of any of these actors that are included in here, you're going to get something out of it. If you're a fan of Amicus Productions, you're going to get something out of it. It's just got something for the horror fan that's out there. Let's dive into the disc and have a look at some of the extras. Here we are in the disc for Madhouse. First up, we have an introduction by Stephen Laws, which runs for 8 minutes 38 seconds. He's kind of talking about the novelist who wrote the story, some of the actors and how the film really came about. Some real kind of actors that I hadn't really noticed that were in this one as well, which was really great. Next we have Lights, Camera, Murder, a video essay by Mary Going, and she's talking all about slasher films, the kind of formula of the genre. She gives some information on Price and Cushing, and then she starts to look at how this film draws inspiration from the German crimey films or giallos, how it has that kind of stalk and slash feeling and is almost a proto-slasher. Then we have The Revenge of Dr. Death, an archival making of documentary. I really enjoyed this one. I could have watched it for a lot longer. It's 10 minutes 52 seconds, and it's drawing about all the tension on set, how Price was unhappy, the sort of budgetary issues it had here, and all the rewrites were going on, and how it was considered a real mess by the studio. There's then a trailer and stills gallery. Also included in this set is a 28-page booklet where we have The Madhouse of American International Pictures, an essay by Christopher Stewardson. There is also Welcome to the Madhouse by John Hamilton, which is an interview with Jim Clark that's transcribed here as well. And that's the extras from Madhouse. Overall, Madhouse is a fun, strange, slightly uneven horror movie, but it's really enjoyable. It's a real curio. It's not top tier Vincent Price or top tier Peter Cushing, but having that pedigree within the film gives it something that's worth sitting up and paying attention for. It's not a masterpiece, but really worth picking up for a number of reasons. Cushing, Price, the idea of the story, Amicus Productions, horror from the 70s, lots of things that make it worth adding to your collection, and I would say it's a welcome addition to mine. It's something I will go back to again and enjoy. I would love to know your thoughts on Madhouse. Let me know in the comment box below whether you love it, hate it, fall somewhere in the middle. As always, there is more content up here. You can see more of my stuff. In the description box are links to Patreon, membership program and manvfilm.com, always, in which you can support me. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.